Love the mouth-watering taste of delicious, perfectly cooked bacon?
Bacon! Bacon! Where's the bacon? I smell bacon! 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 Gotta be bacon! Only one thing smells like bacon! That's bacon! 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 There!
Welcome to the What's Sizzling podcast with Big Bacon.
Hey, look at all that meat.
And now your host, Big Bacon, Brad Hollister.
It's bacon!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of What's Sizzling with Big Bacon, or El Tocino Grande for Espanol. And man, 2 weeks down, 2 interviews down. And I'm not going to lie, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I thought this was just going to be something I'd do to keep myself busy, to keep my mind off of things, but I'm really enjoying doing all this podcasting stuff. I want to thank John Roy for all the help he's been giving me on the tech side. I want to thank all the fans. You guys have been listening. You guys have been reacting to the Twitter. You guys have been on the Instagram. For those who don't know, the Twitter is at What's Sizzling. The Instagram is the at What's Sizzling podcast. But all the support has been awesome, and like I said, those listens have been great, giving us those much needed 5 stars, baby. Has also been so cool. Yeah, I really do want to thank everybody. I'm going to cut to our interview pretty quick this week. Very short intro. Myself and JT Dunn go on a deep dive from everything from football to wrestling, a little bit of everything in between as well. So let me throw to that interview right now. Please take it away, me from the past.
The bacon.
My guest for episode 3 of What's Sizzling with Big Bacon is an international independent wrestling superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man with an elbow so sick, anywhere he goes, he sprinkles his magic. He also dabbles in misbehavior and fun. Ladies and gentlemen, pro wrestling savior, it's JT Dunn. JT, what's sizzling, baby?
Yo, those are bars right there.
Yo, listen, I got to do my introductions right. That's one thing, I pride myself on, is giving good introductions.
I promise you, nobody has ever wrapped me into a podcast before, and I never knew I wanted it that bad until that moment right there.
Brother, Bacon got the bars, kid. Don't
you come with the bars.
So we're dropping this, actually, we're recording this maybe a month before it drops almost, actually a little bit less, but
Look at you, man, having a schedule, getting ahead of the game here on the fly. I love it.
That's what I'm trying to do. I never did this before, so I'm trying to go into this as professional as possible. I want to get these done, and I want to make sure that I have them, so I'm never without an episode. But this one is dropping at a very special time, Jay Tizzle. This is dropping right before you step in the ring with Jon Moxley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited, man. I'm almost as excited about this podcast dropping as I am about the match.
Oh, babe.
Wait, so hold up. I heard this is episode 3. Who was before me?
So we have Flip episode 1. We have Flip, we had the Flipper. And episode 2, my trainer, Thomas Santel, who actually was wrestling at American Rana last night with Nick Gage, which is the most insane tag team on planet Earth.
Okay. I was looking for a reason to be mad, but I can't be mad. That's a star-studded triple threat lineup right there. And Nick is
it's so funny too. I think I was talking to Dakota earlier, and I was like, you know what? I bet you he's gonna be mad that he was number 3. I'm like, I bet you he's not gonna be happy he was number 3.
I would, if it was like Dexter Lube ahead of me, I'd probably be hot as shit. I'd break my phone right now.
Oh no, I think I have a personal rule that Dexter will never be on this podcast.
Love it.
Never ever.
We don't do podcasts in the parking lot.
Absolutely not. I mean, I think I'll have Sumo on for 10 episodes.
Actually, what a great idea. Podcast in the parking lot.
The parking lot? No, that's terrible. That was awful.
Stick to the rapping intro.
I know. I gotta stick to my bars. I'm not good at these terrible dad puns. We're talking, like I said, you got Jon Moxley for Northeast Wrestling. Northeast Wrestling, a place that you and I have very loudly stated that we've thrown on our back. We were put in a weird position where a lot of guys just left, and I mean,
damn them.
Talk about that, man. Talk about how many guys just end up getting signed and leaving Northeast behind, and that kind of got thrown on guys like UI, Casanova, guys like that.
Yeah, man, it was actually really interesting, and I think I've experienced it at a couple other promotions that I was like a mainstay for. But I feel like Northeast hit it on a bigger level because the talent that was taken away was featured predominantly to be portrayed as leaps and bounds ahead of you and I, even though in reality we wrestle these guys all the time, and we know it takes two to tango. But when guys like Flip and Warbeard and all that started getting taken to NXT and exclusive with their Ring of Honor contracts or Impact, wherever they went, that left a huge void here in New England and a very big void in Northeast Wrestling, as they have their cast of characters on the roster, but you know that there's like 4 or 5 guys always in rotation that are the absolute workhorses for NEW, and that makes the show kind of round out when you bring in such inclusive fans, the Smart Mark fans, on top of just your traditional I want to see Hurricane Helms fans.
Exactly.
Which is great, and mixed together, they're the greatest fans possible to wrestle in front of. But when they all went down, man, that was not down when they all sold out. Like that was it. It kind of came out of nowhere. I feel like we lost like 9, maybe 10 people all at once. Dijak went with them.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think that today, like, because I was telling this Tom last week. I'm actually taking notes on my friends, which I find really creepy.
How awkward is that,
dude? So weird. But I was taking notes for this podcast, and I started thinking about this question, and I'm like, man, like you said, Dijak, Warbeard, Flip, Cody was a regular on every show. TK, Vinny, Taven was signed a little bit earlier than those guys. He was
still there on the back end.
Bennett was there at every single show.
Yeah.
So like all these guys just all left in pretty much like a 6-month span.
Yeah, and I feel like the guys that were there, wrestling becomes such a self-motivated sport where you have to protect yourself. Nobody really thinks about the brand in a whole. Maybe some people do; they just hide it well. But a lot of those guys left, and for you and I, nobody really showed us like, hey man, can we cuss on here?
Yeah. I mean, we got John Roy editing, so
okay.
He'll hook us up.
Just bleep this out because I feel like it can't be stated any other way. When all those guys left, nobody taught you and I how to like be the backbone of a company. So everybody kind of left, and then we got pulled into a room, and it was like, how bad do you guys want this? And I feel like that conversation was a big motivating point, and I think it hit home more when we got to watch everybody grow there and leave. And then I looked across the room, and it was the office of Northeast Wrestling, and then just you and I, man. And you and I have had these private conversations that we can now say because you brought it up, where we told ourselves within a year's time, we're going to run Northeast Wrestling, and we're going to make it more nationally known than it already is. We're going to get more attention on the Bethany shows. We're going to rely on bringing in household talent as opposed to having to use all the names. And I feel like that's a huge responsibility for two people to take when Northeast wasn't our house. It wasn't directly given to us from anybody. And we kind of just busted our ass to get that position. And
it all started with the WrestleFest
crazy. As a joke at a baseball stadium, we wrestled, and I feel like we were tossed together just to shut us up. And it was like, okay, these guys are friends. Let them just fight each other. And
well, honestly, I mean, that show was just so stacked with the names, and the names are all kind of working together. So I think it was just more like, hey, this will be a decent opening match. Like these guys could wrestle. You know what I mean? And
we weren't even like best friends yet. We weren't doing karate in the garage yet, man. We were just dragging.
We're like 2 matches in against each other at that point. Now we're like 116. Yeah. But we had Paul Crockett up in the press box, and he held up a WrestleFest sign, and we both did the double WrestleMania point as a joke, like we're going to main event WrestleFest, and it damn near almost happened this year.
Yeah,
like
I think we missed it by what, like a week?
Pretty much, man. And we had like big feature matches at WrestleFest. Like I was defending the title against Darby Allin. You had Scorpio Sky. Like we each had a big feature match in that. Yes, I ended up getting.
I won too because we're pretty awesome.
You know, we both got that dub. You know what I mean?
Cool. Chasing them dubs, bro.
You know, chasing them dubs, baby. But Yeah, so it all started right there, and you were talking about how we took it, and we weren't really handed anything, and I try to avoid this because I don't like when podcasters do this myself with like, oh, just like me, just like me. But one thing I've said to you and I said to everybody else, one thing where you and I are very, very similar, we didn't come from like an established school or like established organization where it's just like we get fed into a company and then we could kind of grow from there. It was like every opportunity we ever had, we had to get it because we built our way up there. So like, how much harder do you think that was?
I think that tormented me in the beginning of my career. Maybe a couple of years into it, maybe 4 or 5 years. I think that's when you really start to develop the mental skill of being a pro wrestler, and it's not so run you down dry. But it tormented me at first, and the last couple of years I've really started to understand how to manipulate that. Manipulate such a bad word to use there, but I've learned how to use that power of not having an established school behind me, of not having a machine to promote me or anything like that. It's harder, but damn, man, I wouldn't do it any other way. Like if I could start over from day one, I would do everything the same. Maybe I would keep my clothes on a little bit more, but like I wouldn't change a lot, man, because I love who I've turned into. I love the mentality that it's given people like you and I to just never slow down. I don't think we've ever been on a show where we're even if there's 5 people in the crowd, you sense the locker room, you feel the morale. Everybody kind of is like, well, it's a smaller show. And for example, we did an outside festival show for Northeast, and everybody in the locker room was just like being a little bitches, and they were like, oh man, there's only like 30, 50 people, 100 people, whatever the hell the number was. I'm lowballing here, but we're accustomed to 5,000. So when you get 200, that beats the morale down. But like, I just remember looking around the room with you like, God, these guys don't understand like how you earn an opportunity. You're barely booked on a show right now. This is the moment you do it, because when you're a promoter or you're in charge of booking talent, you want the guys who are going to deliver no matter what. And you and I have just become those people naturally. So we didn't care if there was 5 people out there. We're giving them 30 minutes of our best pro wrestling. And I feel like that nature inside of our soul, that's why we run New England right now. That's why everybody comes to us for guidance. It's not about being the best wrestler. It's not about just saying that you're this or getting high profile matches. Like all of that comes with the property of being the hardest workers in the room.
Yeah, and I remember the exact show you're talking about. We were sitting there. Was it the football one, right? Where we were watching football earlier today?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, so
that sounds bad, but we.
No. We're sitting there watching football, but like it was one of those things where we're going to go out there and we're going to have a good time, but we're going to show everyone not only in the back, but we're going to show the fans that like you're going to get some really good wrestling at this random like hot dog fest or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like which is kind of appropriate for wrestling. Everyone says the hot dog and handshake joke, but
those guys who phoned it in, they got their paydays, so whatever.
But even after the match, we're like, we ended up blowing each other up because we were like, hey,
the best, dumbest bet I've ever made in my life.
We want to see who get to the back faster. But my one stipulation was, since I was up, I was like, you're going to get to the back first. So you have to wait till I get to the back. But the second my feet hit the ground, let's see who get back there the fastest. And not going to lie, I put the Jets on you. I put the Jets on you on that day.
I got smoked, man. I haven't run that fast since the 40-yard dash in high school. But I think it's things like that, as silly as it is. Like, we were more motivated for the race after the match than for the match. But it brought out the best, most like entertaining match that we probably had that summer of all those outdoor shows. The crowd was so invested in what we were doing. And I mean, maybe out of the couple hundred that were there was like 40 people who follow Northeast. A lot of them came to watch because of Emma, and they came because of the festival itself. But man, we had everybody in the palm of our hand to the point that the next match, they couldn't really pay attention because we were racing out in the open view. And then we got to the door and it was locked. You beat me at the door, it's locked. So I did the most pro wrestling thing I could do. I started throwing
just jumped up my back
because everybody's watching from the bleachers.
Dude, I love that you mentioned the 40-yard dash, because this is one thing I wrote in my notes, because when you told me this, I don't know why it surprised me so much, but it really did surprise me. You said that you were a football player, not only a football player, you were a quarterback. Now, I don't know. I just never expected that in a million years. So I'm sure you never got asked this question on a podcast. I want to break down JT Dunn's football career.
Oh, man, it was terrible.
Oh, no. Give me some.
Yeah, okay. Let me see here. I really haven't thought about football in a bit. Football was my first love. I still love it. I love watching it. I don't play anymore. Like, I think we've tossed the football around at a show, but that's
I put two and two together, right? You're a Lions fan, right?
I am.
I'm a Tennessee Titan fan. So I always say, if you're a fan of a team who is not that successful, then you are a true football fan. Yeah,
and I've loved my Lions, man. I just always wanted to play football. I thought it was the coolest thing. And mind you, I grew up in a very manly man house environment with my parents and stuff. Majority going to my dad being a piece of shit, but it was play football. That's it. Wrestling wasn't real. It was frowned upon. It was a pansy sport. I wasn't allowed to put on tights and touch dudes, or my dad would just attack me. So football was my thing. And my sister was a huge wrestling fan. So that was my only knowledge of wrestling, was like UPN SmackDown. The Rock would come out, and my mom loved The Rock.
Hell
too,
yeah.
So that was our bond.
Dude, my mom loved The Rock.
Everybody loved The Rock, man. He's the people's champ. He's my champ.
The only autograph that I ever had from my childhood that I've like framed.
You know what's weird? My only one is from Rikishi, but I didn't even get it. My dad's like ex-girlfriend bumped into him at a bar one night and was like, "Oh, my boyfriend's kids are wrestling fans," and he just wrote Rikishi on a bar napkin, and then she gave that to me, and I have it in a box somewhere.
What a stud.
She probably just got hammered and just wrote Rikishi on a napkin.
next to a big Samoan was like, "That's Rikishi."
Yeah. Oh man. But with football, like I played the Pee Wee leagues here in Rhode Island. I did pretty good. Went to a couple of state championships, lost every single one because the rest of my team sucked. I went to a private school to play football for about 2 weeks. I played quarterback and wide receiver on the offense, and then I played free safety on the defense. My quarterback at that school didn't like me, and I didn't like him, mainly over partying and girls. We had very similar friends. And he wouldn't throw me the ball. So you really can't be a dominant wide receiver if you don't have the ball in your hand. And,
wait a minute. As a receiver, you need a quarterback to throw it to you?
Oh,
what a weird concept.
Blasphemy. But this dude, like my second string and third string receivers, even my tight end, all these kids came up in a different league together. So I was the outcast, and I only went to this school because one of my coaches suggested that I go there because he got drafted in the NFL to play for the Raiders coming out of this school. So I figured we played the same positions. We had the same type. We run the same speeds. Like I was pretty much training in his footsteps to get drafted. And I went there and it didn't work out. So after double sessions, I transferred to a public school in Cranston. I went to Cranston High School West. I walked on automatic starter for my freshman team. And then by the end of the season, I was playing varsity come like Thanksgiving game. I think it's the first game you were really allowed to step up and play. And from there on out, I played varsity. My second year, we won the Super Bowl, which is pretty cool. We beat the team that I left in the Super Bowl, which is pretty sweet. And it's really crazy.
That is awesome.
I've now wrestled because they hold the championship in East Providence that year, or held it, I should say, in East Providence at the stadium. I've wrestled at that field. So I thought that was pretty cool that I won a Super Bowl in East Providence Stadium, and then I went back and I did I believe it was Power League Wrestling. I did a festival show. So it was like a little carnival on a field, and we got to have a nice match there. I'm pretty sure I wrestled Anthony Green, which full circle stories all over the place. But man, I would say towards my sophomore, after we won the Super Bowl, I felt kind of like, all right, football is cool, but I started experiencing the politics behind it in college, and I was a drug addict, so that really wasn't in my favor. My coaches started finding out that I was doing drugs, and it wasn't really an issue. They became enablers because my school was a bunch of rich kids from the West Side mixed with a bunch of dirty little fucks like me from the East Side. And dude, if you want to party, be around rich kids that just have all their
I know.
Because I'm not one of those kids, and my family did not come from money. So watching these dudes where it's like a bottle of 30 Percocets would go for a certain amount, and these kids would be like, yeah, man, sure, I'll take 2 bottles. And they would give the money to me and be like, go grab it. And like no joke, I'd go get it from my coaches, or I'd go get it from like the starting linebacker or whatever. It became very accessible, and that became a very big detriment in my life. My mother passed away my freshman year, and then leading into my my senior year, my grandmother passed away. And in my life, those are the two most important people that I'll ever have. So losing them, playing football, being in an unnatural environment, having a very unstable family home, it all wound up on me. And eventually I didn't care about anything anymore, especially football. Colleges started taking interest in me. And then going into my senior year, our school got bumped down to Division II, unfortunately. And I ended up suffering an injury. I got high-load on a shit play. And I popped my knee out of the socket, and obviously, you need 2 legs to run. So I was sidelined, no surgery, just stupid rehab that put me out for the rest of the season. Luckily, had a couple of colleges that were still interested, but once they found out that I was a drug addict and a party animal via MySpace and all the other coaches that had come met me in person. And funny thing, this is going to sound real crappy. So you know how like, the people that come in try to draft you for college and they try to recruit you, recruiters. So I knew my dad was gonna mess up my opportunity for me to play football anywhere in the world that I wanted to, because I felt like as soon as we sit down, he's gonna be like, by the way, my son's good at football. Take all the credit, because he's gonna tell everybody he trained me when he didn't do shit. But he's also gonna bury me and be like, but he doesn't clean his room, he doesn't do the dishes, he's addicted to cocaine and Percocet. And that would ruin my shot. So I used to have my recruiters meet one of my best friend's family instead of my family, so that it looked like I came from a good home. I don't think I've ever told this story on a podcast, but you're my boy, and it's funny talking to you about it. But I used to have them come to my friend's house so that they would meet his family, and I just pretended that they were my family, because I was like, if I ever went to play college, I'm moving. They're not going to see my dad, so they're never going to know. Overall, drugs and alcohol took over my life. Quit football. I got into an accident where it got reported that I was intoxicated, so that didn't do me any favors. And after that, it was just a spiraling down effect that led me weirdly into the world of pro wrestling. One of my buddies I played football with, we put up a YouTube video. This is actually funny how this all connects. So I put up a backyard wrestling video from our WrestleMania show. I think it was called like Slam Fest 3 as our third one, because like we were ballers and we did 3 years of it. But it was a highlight video.
You guys could have did 6.
Could have, but then Vince came calling. But we did the highlight video. We put it online, and then Vinny Marcellia found it online on YouTube.
That is, I see. I didn't know this.
Yeah, so him and one of his buddies, I believe his name was Justin at the time. They shot us an email and were like, "Hey man, you guys suck, but you have promise. Like, we have a ring. Do you guys want to like train with us? We'll teach you how to be wrestlers, and like you can stop doing this stuff." So me and Matt kind of made a pact, like, "Yo, if we're really gonna do this, we're gonna do it together." One day he went without me. We developed a little bit of heat. That was my first wrestling heat. And then I called up Matt and I was like, "You little SOB, like, how would you do this without me? Let's go do it together on Tuesday." And we showed up at this dude's house, and he legitimately had a boxing ring. That's a pretty infamous New England ring. I believe it went to PWF after they had it. And then I think it's sitting in somebody's garage now, but it was known as the Red Dog ring. But it was a converted boxing ring, and we got into it. It was in the woods behind his house. It was about a half-a-mile hike. I looked at this, and I was like, all right, well, I probably should have stuck with football. And I got in the ring. They showed me the elements of running the ropes, and I fell on my face about 4 seconds later, and I realized I am not going to be a good pro wrestler. But that was the end of my football career, was that moment of falling down in the ring. Because falling down in the ring was more of a rejuvenating feeling than playing football.
No, and I say that all the time too, because as a pro wrestler, I'm sure you get the question a million times as well of, "Oh, does it hurt? Does it hurt? Does it hurt?" I'm like but my analogy all the time is, it hurts as bad as it does if you're getting hit in a football game. Mm-hmm. Except in football, you pop up to show that, oh, that didn't hurt me, because you're trying to, be all macho. But wrestling, we just show that how bad it hurts. Like, we just actually show that this shit hurts really, really bad.
It's like the equivalent of being the quarterback and you get blindsided. The hit that you don't see coming, that's what it feels like every single time we fall down.
And the one thing I never noticed too, and my dad always used to point this out to me, he's like, quarterbacks get hit almost every play. He goes, you don't see when the ball leaves their hands. He goes, they're usually getting hammered the second the ball leaves their hand.
One of the things I like that football does now is they show you the knockdown statistics of how often a quarterback was hit. Being a Lions fan, trust me, there's no quarterback who gets hit more than Matt Stafford. He could drop back 100 times in a game, and it probably says he's been knocked down 84 and sacked like 5, and the rest is just him running around.
No, hey, listen, Marcus Mariota gets touched once and he's hurt for 8 weeks. But I like the Titans strategy. No, I like the Titans strategy this year. They got Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota. Both of them always have a half of a great season. If they can just put half a great season together, Titans are looking good, baby. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Who you guys got for receivers down there now?
Corey Davis started looking good last year. Tajay Sharp kind of let down since his draft, but our receiving core is weak. I mean, we're just going to keep handing the ball to Derrick Henry, but
yeah, at least you're not the New York Giants.
Yeah, they're just giving up.
Awful. I hope the Golden Tate suspension gets uplifted because that's stupid. Dude's trying to have a baby with his wife and took a certain medicine like months before the season even started that wouldn't enhance anything. So I think they're just being stupid. And I know I laughed throughout that story about football and the drugs and everything. I'm not making a mockery of what I did. I don't condone doing drugs or doing alcohol or playing sports, being on drugs or anything like that. It's just been 10 years now, and if I dwell on it, I'll never grow from it. So I've learned to accept who I was previously. I'm clean and sober now, 7 years, going on 8 strong. I don't think about alcohol. I don't think about drugs. And I love being able to share my story in any manner because it touches people on a serious note, on a comical note, on a straightforward note. I love being able to resonate with people who are battling addiction and they're looking for help, man, because when I was in this time of the age 14 to 21, it was the most influential years of my life. And I met people that came into my life for one sole purpose, to completely mess it up so that I would never make those mistakes again. And anybody who's ever lost a loved one, you know the spiraling effect that has on your life. And just recently, I think the most important test I had was actually that Northeast show we did together, Brad, where Christian and I wrestled the Lucha Bros. I don't think I've talked about this, but I feel like I like to get it off my chest if that's okay.
Absolutely.
15 minutes prior to my match, I got a phone call from my aunt saying that my grandfather had passed away, and that was the last living member on my mother's side of my family. So that was very detrimental to my soul. And this is the person that you and I have spoken privately, but like I said, I like to just say it out there and put all these positive vibes up there. And hopefully he's looking down and he's happy at the man that I've turned into. But my grandfather is responsible for the man that I am today. All of the things that he tried to help me avoid, I wish I would have listened to a degree. But I also value every lesson he ever taught me now more than ever. Not because he is no longer with me, but I've finally grown into the man that he saw when I was 10 years old. And he knew what I wanted to be. He not as a wrestler, as a human. The wrestling is just my channel of being able to spread my positivity in this world. But my grandfather is responsible for all of these lessons that I'm passing on to everybody now, or trying to. So losing him was very sad, but man, I channeled that into the show that night, and I think we had a badass little match, and I try not to let it affect me, but it's always on my mind, as it is for anybody who loses somebody. But I wanted to share that so people, when you experience something, let it make you. Don't let it break you. Let it motivate you to move forward and do the things that person always saw with you. And now I see that light, and I'm very happy for everything that he ever taught me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And like you said, things like that, especially, they always seem, there's never a good time, but they always seem to come up in like a really, really bad time. And, but like you said, you positive and you channeled it in a positive manner, excuse me. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now with you, sitting down, like, this is stuff that like you said, we do have these private conversations, but being able to sit and talk to you and really like, I know you as a wrestler. I say this all the time. Like, wrestlers always kind of just catch up with people of what's going on right now, and like what
it's a brother act.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I,
We're
like,
humans,
I consider,
man.
yes, I consider you a good friend, not just a wrestling friend. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So being able to
Wrestling just brought us into each other's lives.
exactly, and I say that all the time, especially with like, because a lot of people will be like, oh, this is my friend, this is my friend. I'm like, not really my friend. Like, this is my good acquaintance. My good acquaintance.
Y'all don't talk outside of wrestling. You talk in locker rooms. That's not a friend.
Exactly. And I have a group of maybe 5 to 6 people in wrestling that I would consider real life friends.
Same.
And you're one of them, just because like you and I could share stories like that.
Yep. And I cherish that, man. And it's very unfortunate what you're going through right now. But you're already way ahead mentally than you would expect at this point. And I think that what you're doing with the podcasting and the vlogs and the videos, I think that's a great channel for you, because now people are going to get to see the real you. And it sucks that you have to endure something like an injury to get there. But when I tore my hamstring to close out about a year ago, like it closed out the year, it messed my soul up, man. And it wasn't until I started thinking about what else I provide in life and what else I can do, and it bounces you right back. And I feel like you kind of just run right through your rehabilitation, and the next thing you know, you're doing all of these things at full speed on top of wrestling, and it's a great feeling, man. You're gonna get there.
Like when it first happened, everyone's like, "Oh, this could be the best thing to happen to you." And like,
Dude,
in my
same
head,
thing. And I was like, "I'll follow you."
I was just about to say, in my head, I was just like, "Oh, right off, bro! Like, this is not the best thing that could happen to me. Like, getting $1 million contract like tonight, like that's the best thing that could happen to me."
100%.
But it turned out like I am so super motivated with all this extra stuff, and like hearing stories like your story where you came back from it wasn't an injury, but it was definitely a setback. You came back from that and you conquered it. So like seeing my friends going through similar things, like Flip's going through the injury right now. I see TK DL go through that nasty, very similar leg break, and see how fast they came back and how fast they pushed. Like, dude, it makes it super motivating.
And
man.
look at them now afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
it's a mental state of mind. If you can conquer that during the negative process, dude, afterwards everything just runs so smoothly because you're not distracted. You're not going to let anything ever get in the way again.
Yeah, and from now on, I'm going to tell Lombardi, I'm like, yeah, I agented JT's match, just so he's like, wow, you're a really good agent.
Yeah.
That's going to be my move from now on. I'm just going to let you do what you want, and I know it's going to be good, and I'm going to be like, hey, man, yeah, I put that together for him. No big deal.
And if he asks me, yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah, he did. He threw that together for us.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
But yeah, you were saying I'm trying to dabble in a bunch of different things. One thing you are way, way, way more experienced than I with is Twitch.
Oh, boy.
So let the people know about your Twitch handle, what you do on there, what games you're nasty at. Like, what is your game on Twitch? And the hard-hitting question, because I got to have one.
Oh, boy.
Why won't you get a copy of NBA 2K so I could bust them cheeks?
Okay. Oh, my cheekies. All right. So first of all, I have NBA. I've had it.
So let's get cheek busting.
Let's get it. I just haven't played it in a bit. I was running the park with Sammy for a while. So there's two things that I feel are very valuable to me being who I am outside of wrestling, because I think people misconstrue me and they misunderstand me because they see what I post on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I promise you, I'm only showing you what I want you to see. There's so many other layers and parts of me that you'll never see, because giving y'all that information gives you power over me. And that's just not going to happen. Y'all can kiss my ass. But gaming, on top of wrestling, it saved my life. I'm not into partying anymore. I'm not into anything like that. Hell, my girlfriend can tell you I don't like leaving my house, and that makes her upset. But leaving my house reminds me that I can go and do all of these things I'm trying to avoid. And yes, I know I've been clean for 7 years, but temptation is always there. Even when you feel like you're in control, that's usually when it comes back and gets you, because you're not paying attention. So I'm always on guard, and I think that's helped me stay sober and clean for so long. But as wrestling keeps me distracted, now that I'm more dominant in my schedule and I'm giving myself more time to heal because I know what's coming next, I don't I don't just go and do 5 matches in a weekend at random bumfuck indie shows. And just because to say I'm a pro wrestler, I take the ones that I feel are the most important to me, the fans, and the promotion involved. If you feel like you're invested in me and I'm invested in you, I will be there. If I feel like it's going one way and not the other, I will not show up to your show anymore. Like, I think people that see me go somewhere and then not come back, they're always like, oh, he burned this bridge, he left. I promise you that's not the case. I'm in good graces with everybody. But when I feel like you're a fucking idiot and you don't know how to run your wrestling promotion, and to break the fourth wall, I run a wrestling promotion and it's very successful, so I know what the fuck it takes. And I promise you, your favorite wrestling shows within a 19-state radius of Providence, Rhode Island, I promise you I help them out those shows. So I know wrestling outside of just being a wrestler, and I'm way better outside of the ring than I am inside of the ring. So get those misconceptions out. Like, I never talk about that on any podcast, because most of the podcasts I do, the first question is, who's your favorite wrestler? And I instantly want to just break my phone and get off of it. But since we're way past the fourth wall here, man, like, I know wrestling. I sit up, I study it, and I breathe it. My best friends in wrestling are the best wrestlers in the world. The best wrestler in independent wrestling history is my mentor. Like, he came from the heavens and chose me. He didn't pick all of you, so shut the fuck up and let me do my job. But outside,
no, but anytime, if you beat me to a show and I walk into the locker room, you're sitting in Bethany in that little corner where it's like the 2 sinks, and you're just watching wrestling on your phone. Yep. So I could do a test that you do study wrestling nonstop.
That's all I do. And what I'm watching isn't even to favor me. It's because I've seen the card for the show that day, and I'm looking for secrets and I'm looking for tips to give other guys, because I helped several guys put their matches together. That's like part of our responsibility there. Like, and again, fourth wall fucking shattered, but like, I don't care anymore. And I think I need to start being more like this, so that all of these fans on Twitter, all these other wrestlers in the locker room, y'all don't have control over me. You don't have control over Brad. You don't get to tell me what to do. You don't get to tell him what to do. You don't pay my bills. If you're a Lombardi and you want to walk up and hand me the money, sure, man, tell me what to do. But if you're a guy that's on the show and you're talking shit about us on Twitter, like, you're an idiot, because we're the ones who fight for y'all to be there. So
exactly.
Shut your mouth. But when we're not there, I'm gaming, because gaming keeps me out of trouble. I love it. I love the adrenaline behind gaming and finding a good game to just get lost in, because I don't have to be Johnny Davis Jr. at that moment. I don't have to be JT Dunn at that moment. I can just be whatever I am in this game. I can focus on this. I can be distracted from reality. I don't have to worry about tweeting every day to keep up my followers. I don't have to worry about posting on Instagram so everybody doesn't think that I'm dead. Like, it's just such a good escape from reality. And I've been doing it for years. When I was younger, living at home with my dad, I used to play the early SmackDown versus Raws and No Mercies and Golden Eyes and all that stuff, because my dad's a piece of shit. That's the moral of my life story, is F that guy. But like,
title of the book?
Yeah, that's my book. Fuck my dad, the JT Dunn story. But to escape that brutal reality and all of those losses and all those negative things, I would just zone out in my room and I'd just be playing video games. And that was my way to just de-stress, so that when I went to assess a situation, I was clear-minded, because anytime I make a decision when I'm heated in the moment, I make the wrong decision. And usually with the drugs and alcohol, it's enhanced to be way more of a bad decision than you could ever plan for. So now I approach everything differently. I used to do Madden tournaments. That was the first game I really started streaming years back when I lived in Boston. I've won a bunch of Madden tournaments, and that kind of kept me motivated to go. And then
Chicopee Comprehensive High School 2008 Madden champion is who you're speaking to right now, sir. So we might have to pick it up on Madden as well.
Oh, man. Okay. I can't wait for the Madden to come out. I didn't get it yet. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get some Madden rounds. But, man, and you're gaming way more now, and you were gaming before the Twitch stuff. But, like, I think you can, for those who maybe don't play video games or don't give a shit, or they're probably thinking that we're 12 years old, like, there's a different
on the inside.
It's a different it's a different feeling, and it's cool. And I like this streaming because I'm good at the games that I play. So I like being able to play with fans or friends and stuff like that who also are good at gaming. But man, it's just another way to express ourselves as humans. And I get to tell my story as a person, and not everybody's coming on to be like, oh, let me go talk to JT Dunn, the wrestler. Like, that category is there, but it was also like, this guy has feelings. This guy has emotions. This guy has actual education. He has a great vocabulary. He's handsome. Like all of these things.
Got all these things going for him, you know? This guy's just fucking, this guy got
So
it
if
all.
you're looking for those things, guys, it's Twitch TV/the JT Dunn. That's where you can find me almost every day. And we're streaming with a host of characters. Like last night I was on for a couple hours, and Callahan right now is my my go-to Apex partner. But we were getting on there before with Tillman Jr., who you're going to see at Northeast coming up in a couple weeks. Desmond Xavier was helping us get some wins yesterday. Like it's always fun. And again, it's because we get these guys in the lobby, and we're not talking about wrestling. Like if people ask questions in the chat, sure, I'll answer them about wrestling. But I promise you, we're talking way more about life, and you get to see these guys as humans in a different facet than just Sammy Callahan having to be the draw and talking about like this all the time. Like it's not like that, man. It's so much more relaxed. I don't have to put on my Batman voice. Like I can just sit here and be me and just do my thing, man, and roast people and like. It's just such a good release from life.
Dude, I tried Apex the other day because I was like, all right, because like with the stream,
intense
like,
at first.
well, I never gamed before, right? So like, I played video games, but like I never, gamed online or anything. So I was like, all right, this is a popular one. Maybe I'll try this and I'll see if like, the stream picks up. So I tried a round or two with JR, and holy hell, I was not very good at that at all.
Do you ever play Call of Duty?
I used to.
So Apex is like a newer version of Call of Duty. Obviously not the same thing, but the concept. So anybody first-person shooter from the Call of Duty world is going to be adjusted to Apex. It's so much faster than the Battle Royale games that are out right now, like Fortnite. There's no buildings. I think the building aspect of Fortnite is stupid as shit. But it's just...
Oh, dude, the same thing. I played that one time, right? So, okay, this is my one Fortnite story. So
Yeah,
I'm sneaking behind the guy, right? I see a guy. He's right in front of me. I'm sneaking behind, right? I get behind him. I line up the back of his head, right? And then I talk some shit. I go, "Good night." Pow. And then out of nowhere, he's like 30 feet in the air, built on something, and then he just starts shooting me, and I die. And I'm like, but I shot him in the back of the head. What's going on? So then I was like, I'm never playing this fucking game again.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely fun. Like, I'm not going to sit here and bash the game. It's probably the first game that I played consistently with all of my friends. Like, before it was like Madden online or like Call of Duty with a couple of buddies. Like me and Trigger the OG used to play Call of Duty together online. But Fortnite was the first thing that really brought me together with like a whole different group of people. Like I probably played Fortnite or up until my recent Apex stretch the last 2 weeks. But it's always like me, Callahan, Eddie, and like Buddy Murphy in WWE. Like, in what world am I friends with Buddy Murphy?
Such a strange group.
Having never met this guy, but because we have mutual friends that end up in a lobby together, now we're friends and we talk on a daily basis. And it's like, yeah, that benefits me in many ways. But dude, he's a great human, and people get to see that he's a human. Like,
okay, this is a real question. This is a real question. This is how I know if it's real or not. Is he good at the game?
Yeah, he actually is good.
Okay,
He's like the super pusher in our group. Like, you could be like fighting 300 meters away, and you look on the map, and he's already there shooting people, which is great for me because I'm a sniper. I'm a long distance. I like somebody who goes in, and even in Apex, create a little chaos, get everybody running away, and as soon as somebody peeks their head, they're dead. I don't miss my snipes, not anymore.
Just start picking them off.
Buddy's good. Sammy's killing it in Apex right now. And Eddie's really good at Fortnite. He doesn't really mess with the Apex stuff. Again, it's a very overwhelming game, and everything happens fast, and it just takes some time to get used to.
So how many wrestling Madden players do we have? Because we should host a tournament.
Hell yeah. I know Sammy plays. I got a bunch of my other buddies that play Madden, Jason Cade and these guys. A lot of those dudes, too, they play a lot of the WWE games. I'm just not into the wrestling video games.
Dude, okay, so it's so bad. I started wrestling at 15 years old, so that's when WWE games got ruined for me, because I would be watching or playing the game, and I'm like, wait, how is this guy not selling his arm? This guy's been working his arm the whole match. This makes no sense. So like those games immediately got ruined for me, because I'm like, psychology's out the window for these games. These games suck.
I played, I think it might have been not this year, maybe last year's, when they did the NXT, and you could create a superstar and go through as him through the indies or whatever. So thankfully, I have great fans, and they have created the JT Dunn character. So my buddy Steve the Turtle, he downloaded it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a try. And I got signed to the NXT brand after a couple of indie matches because I'm fucking awesome, even in the video game. And I bump into Cassius Ohno in the hallway, and the character says to the JT Dunn character, like, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here. You suck." Yada yada yada. I'm paraphrasing. And I was like, "Hold on."
Did you call him?
He wouldn't really say that to me.
I know, but you should have called him in real life and be like, "What the hell, man? What's going on? I thought we were friends."
Chris, son of a bitch! God, I can't believe you said this to me in a video game.
And now this is my latest thing of wrestling heat.
Yep, I was like, screw this game. Chris wouldn't bury me like that. WWE isn't real. No, that's just what I like to tell people. But like, I don't know. I just didn't like it. Gameplay was weird. There's too many things you got to hit. I gotta put in the contra code to put on a submission. Like, no way, man. I'm trying to no mercy this. I'm trying to beat you up and taunt until I get my finisher, and then you are screwed. That's it.
Yeah. So I did. What's the PlayStation service where like you could try any game and it's like $20 a month.
View or whatever.
No, that's for the cable. But anyways, one of the PlayStation Now, I think it's one.
Oh, now, yeah. It has all the original PlayStation stuff.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll try it was the same game, the last year's game, and it was the same thing. I'm taunting and nothing's going up, and I'm like, wait, what happened to taunting for a finisher? That's the only reason I taunt when I wrestle in real life, is because I want to be able to hit my finisher. Like, that's going to be my new gimmick when I come back. I'm just going to be bumping guys around and then just like taunt 4 times. And then when they get up, bump them again with a running strike, because that's always the way you bump people in the video game. Oh, dude, 100%. And then get my finisher and just finish 1, 2, 3.
Hell yeah. I mentioned his name briefly, but I wanted to say something real quick about Steve the Turtle. And I know you're familiar with him.
Yes.
But he has played such a pivotal role in my life, and I don't think people really understand how important he is to independent wrestling. So I think that Steve is an independent wrestling icon. I've seen recently, I think it was Interspecies Wrestling, label him as an independent wrestling ambassador. His spirit in wrestling. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And his reputation amongst the elite top guys in wrestling is the most favorable it could ever be, from guys from Hero to Samoa Joe to Quackenbush, like all of the guys that you respect, love this dude. And for those who don't know, Steve is a little bit older in wrestling now, but like he's been challenged with autism his entire life, and he's never let that really affect him in a wrestling sense. It's never affected him between making friends and showing how passionate he is about things like pro wrestling. But I feel in the last couple of years, his spirit was broken, and I'm not sure what the cause of it was. And maybe it would be personal things. It could be professional things. Could be a mix of them both. However, in the last couple of weeks, and you may have seen him on his social media being very, very active, Steven has had this renaissance, this rejuvenation of his spirit, and he's driving to Canada doing shows, killing it out there, meeting dozens and dozens of fans who are now very active with him on social media.
He followed the show today.
Every day, so like he's motivated. He's going to the gym. He's pursuing bookings like via email, sending out his resume, things that like I see other guys, especially here in New England, where they think getting booked is DMing me, kissing my ass, and I'm going to get you booked in all the places. I promise you that's not the way to do it. And if you guys keep doing that, I'm just going to screenshot your shit and I'm going to put it on the internet because y'all suck. But Steve is out here just making it, and he's doing it the right way after 20 years in wrestling. He doesn't have to do it that way, but it's his farewell to wrestling, I guess, is just one great push, and that could be an 8-year push. You never know. But I just needed to talk about that for a second, man, because I think that's a powerful message.
Hell yeah, man. That's great.
I feel like everybody has their challenges. Mine, it was drugs and alcohol and women for a long time. And that hurt me a lot. I couldn't imagine having to find the knowledge to have an incredible life through autism. But Steven has done that outside of wrestling. He's very well respected in the community. And then inside of wrestling, he has just hit a level that very few people have hit. He walks into a room and every single person in that room, for a positive aspect, knows who he is. So I think that if you're listening to this right now, I think you need to, when you see Steve, sit down, talk with him, pick his brain. If he doesn't motivate you in 45 seconds, I will give you your money back. You didn't give me any money, so F it, but just talk to the dude. Sit down and see what's motivating him, because I think I have felt very motivated in the last couple of months, and that's rubbed off on Steve, and now he's motivated and he's pushing forward, and I just think that's real incredible, man. After 18, 19, 20 years in wrestling, you can find a whole new love for something. Like, that makes wrestling so special. That makes life very special, and he's got both working for him. And I just need to talk about that.
No, and that's great, because I love stories like that. And like you said, like he's doing it the right way in terms of he's sending out emails to promotions. He's trying to get more content out there on social media. Where, like you said, I get those messages all the time of guys being like, "Oh, hey, how do I get on this show? How do I get on this show?"
And how often do you get something that's like, you can immediately forward to a promoter that you're friendly with to put him over? It's usually just like they hit you up buddy about a professional thing when they're two different aspects. And I feel
exactly
to me, I feel like there needs to be a difference there. You can hit me up like, "Yo, son, I need to get booked on this show, dog, because it's awesome." I'm not forwarding that email anywhere for you, like, at all.
Yeah, exactly. And like one of the big things I get all the time is with Northeast Wrestling. Is like, how do I get on Northeast Wrestling? How do I get on Northeast Wrestling? And I tell people, show up and set up chairs, because you know how Michael is. Like, that's like his big thing. He wants to know if people are helping out. Maybe that's not the foot in the door, but even guys like you and I, we're there. We're helping set things up, and not like set up the show, but like we're telling people where to put stuff, how things go. We walk up to him, "Hey, how many rows you want? How many chairs you want in this row? Okay, guys, get 18 chairs in this row." You know what I mean?
Yeah, we sit sometimes and we joke like, "Oh, remember the good old days when we had to set up the ring? Now we don't have to do it anymore." In certain places, because you reach a level. But I promise you, we make that joke and then we see that it's not happening fast enough, and we get right up and we run right over there, and we're moving boards, we're putting chairs down, we're locking in guardrails, like on top of being yelled at for everything under the sun. Like,
dude, I think
we don't have to do that,
with the
and we still
guardrails
do.
for life. I think I got relegated with guardrails for life, and I hate it.
Well,
I hate it so much.
We put them up in Poughkeepsie so smooth, and they didn't move, and he was happy about it. So now we're on guardrail duty for life, dog.
And that was probably match 1,500 out of 3,000 that you and I did together.
That match was awesome, dude.
Dude, that was one of my favorites, especially because that was like I think the first show with David Arquette, and we're like, all right,
yes,
there's going to be a lot of people here. There's going to be a lot of eyes on the show. Let's make the show about us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds selfish, but you know everybody's going to talk about David Arquette after the show. He's a famous celebrity. But the fact that they left that show talking about him while talking about us, we won. Our job was accomplished.
Yeah, and you know that's what it was.
Like a selfish thing.
No, I mean, but I think
that helps Northeast, because we're going to be there consistently. We're going to return the next show. He isn't. He's going to be back in 6 months. We need to take all of these fans that may be here to see the guy from Friends, and we need to put them in Bethany. And we've taken that responsibility.
And that's the thing. Like, that was probably maybe our 15th, 20th match together, something around that. And you and I said this when we first started working, was that we were on maybe hundreds of shows together leading up to our first match against each other. And we're like, wait a minute, we never wrestled. I think our first match was at Triple Threat with Flip. It was one of those. And we were like, wait a minute.
That was the first one.
We never wrestled before. And like, we kind of were like, oh shit, we never wrestled each other before. And then
it was weird to like look at you and not have a clue what sequences we could put together to base off of the ones we did before.
None.
And I was just like, I always have information about everybody. Holy crap, I don't have anything with him. This is embarrassing. As like a guy who, like you said, I'm super prepared for every situation. I felt baffled in that moment because I had nothing. I had no research in my brain, no previous knowledge of things that we've done together, because it was the first time. And that's such a rare thing here in New England now.
And then I remember a couple months later, we were working another baseball stadium. I think this might have been the WrestleFest one. And we talked like we wrestled each other hundreds of times, and we got to the back and we're like, oh, good shit. And then right then I was like, man, this feels like we wrestle 100 times, but realistically, this is probably like the third or fourth time we actually had a match against each other. So like
sometimes it just works like that, man. It just feels natural when you both just understand it a different way, and you know that nobody else in that locker room, legends aside, are thinking of it like that.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say, like, talk about how much easier it is when you're stepping in there with someone with, like you said, that chemistry of just not even the similar mindset, but just you kind of know just a similar drive. Like, how do you feel like when you step into the, like, who are some guys you have that chemistry with?
Well, you for sure, and that's developed over the last 2 years. I'd say, are we talking about like right now who I feel I have that chemistry with?
Just in general, just guys.
A lot of the guys that I would recommend are no longer on the indies. They're a little bit gone. I would toss out the Keith Lees, the Di Jackson stuff. But now it's like you, Casanova. I feel like we have such a fluid motion in the ring that no matter what story is being told in any promotion, we can capitalize on it. I love getting in there with Christian and you. I hate being put on the spot because I feel like I never think of anybody's name appropriately. But guys,
well, then, you know what?
Left,
how about this?
Martin Stone for sure. Of Brian Fury, I feel like whether he's retired or not, and he comes back. Like, so my matches with Brian, I don't think I ever really talk about Brian as much as I should. I'll put him over here because he'll actually listen to this if somebody tags him in it.
Hey, Brian.
There's your plug, Brian. He's the owner-operator, the chief of police over there at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy and Chaotic Wrestling, for those who don't know, alongside the Chase that runs the place, Del Monte. So shout out Chaotic in the school. I think it's one of the best schools in the area. The guys they pump out speak for itself, from Dijak, Biff Busick, Oni Lorcan to Mercedes, Sasha Banks. I think it's a great school. Go there. They're awesome. Christian's their guy right now alongside Josh Briggs and Anthony Green. But Wrestling Brian, as you know, being in New England, he's been the top tier guy that we've all been chasing for so many damn years to be like, to be in the ring with him. And we've been on shows before we were buddies where we're the jobber, backyard wrestler guys compared to Fury, and we're getting made fun of. Fast forward now, I was in the ring with Brian. I believe I was his second to last match before he retired in Chaotic, and that was a special moment for me because I had more to prove to him than ever before. It was a nice passing of the torch for who represents the King of New England, from Brian to myself. And it sounds silly. It sounds like it's like a championship or a trophy that who the hell would want to be that. But I know that I can change this area, and I have been for the last 3 years. So my work is paying off. But Wrestling Brian, and more importantly, this is going to sound real shitty towards the fans, but I don't mean it like such. It was more important for me to wrestle and impress Brian than it was to impress anybody else in the building every time we got in the ring. And our last couple of matches proved that. And then he retired and when Fury retired, I missed his retirement match against Arion because I debuted for PWG that day. And I texted Brian and I said, I will cancel PWG to be there for your retirement. And he laughed at me and was like, go to PWG, you fucking idiot. Because
I would have told you the same shit.
I love Brian, and I don't think anybody really understands how much I admire that human. Just everything about him as a performer has motivated me since I met him. But I felt it important for my spirit to be there. But hearing him say that I didn't need to be there, I felt like it's not over for him yet. You and I aren't done. And I don't know if you've had that feeling with somebody, but when they try to drift away, you're just like, no, you latch on and you don't want them to go nowhere. I've had that relationship with Brian because I feel like I'm not done learning from him. And he came out of retirement to wrestle me at Chaotic, he's top dog at Chaotic. He's the Chaotic legend of all legends. And he hadn't been active for over a year. He was getting married. He was doing all of these things. And to see him come back to wrestling and his wedding and the match motivate him to just become the Brian Fury I've always wanted to fight in my life. He became that person for freaking 45 minutes at Chaotic with me one more time. I'll never forget that match because to become somebody that's so special that you get somebody who was sick of wrestling, done with wrestling, didn't want to be around it, just didn't want to be in the ring anymore, to get him to change his life and come back and fight you, that's an ego thing. And I always say this about Brian, and it sounds like a negative context, and I promise you it's not. I mean it in the most sincerest thing. Your ego can be the most powerful weapon you ever have, and Brian's ego is through the roof. because he wants to be the best person in that locker room. He wants to be the hardest working person. And he doesn't do that with his body. He does it with his brain. And that's something that he has taught me without even realizing it. Or maybe he has realized it because he finds all these different ways to teach through the school. But he's taught me how to use my brain more than anybody else I've ever wrestled in my life. And I'll never thank him enough because my body is so well protected right now. And I feel great at this point in my wrestling career, quote unquote, because of Brian and the tricks that he's taught me and the creativity he's expressed in my life. That 45-minute match with him was so special because it was just two warriors clanging and banging at a place where we're both fighting. For 10 years, I want them to talk about me the way they talk about Fury right now. Well, from day one, they still talk about him there. And when I'm done wrestling, wherever I go, maybe I'm going to grow up and I'll be a stripper or a doctor. That's still both still on the table. I want them to talk about me like that because I feel like nobody sees longevity in wrestling. They just take. But you are able to influence a generation of people that aren't even ready to be that generation yet. And Brian did that for me, and I want to do that for people after me. And it's crazy to slowly see what that is doing for certain people already in this area. So shout out to Fury and my long ass rant about him. Now I'm done putting him over. Retire again. You suck.
No, that's one thing about that match because I'm a snob, man. I always watch wrestling live. That's the only way I like watching it, right? So I never seek out things that are like, oh, this happened 2 weeks ago. Watch this great match. I never do that. That was one match that I was like, okay, I heard all these great things, I want to watch it. And everything you just said holds up because that was one of the best matches you could even put it against national televised matches. That was just a great story from start to finish.
Thank you. And I feel like that's such an important aspect. And I think you and I hone that to our matches so often that maybe we're playing for high spots. Maybe we're just playing for a live crowd. Maybe the show isn't even getting fucking recorded, but we're still out there wrestling like it's Monday Night Raw. We're wrestling for our jobs are on the line. We're wrestling like this is the last match we're going to have. And we're trying to impress somebody because now where we're at in our careers, that big time contract is only moments away, and you literally never know what performance is going to be that sparks interest in somebody's eyes, or they're just like, oh man, this guy has it. He has this intangible that we need as a part of our product. And we're constantly around the people who get to make those decisions. So I feel like we always have to deliver. And I feel like the locker rooms everywhere now that we're in, especially here in New England, maybe not really around the world because guys think I'm a bum still, but when we come home and we're banging in New England, the locker room is on notice every time we walk in there. And I don't care if anybody takes it the wrong way. Let that motivate you because I used to be the person that would watch a Brian Fury walk in and know, damn, I'm not having the best match today, but I better try hard.
Oh, that's one thing we say every show with each other. If we're not wrestling each other, the first thing I'll say to him is yo, I'm going to have a better match than you tonight. I hope you know that.
And I tell him to suck it. I got the magic touch, baby.
So, actually, this is what I mean about when you get two friends talking because we filled up an hour already. So I'm going to throw to these questions on Twitter real quick, and then we'll plug everywhere where you got to be, and then we're good to go. So Matt P. Douglas wants to know, other than yourself, who would you consider the best in New England? Now, if you're asking me the question and I did other than myself, I would say you. I'm sure you would say the same. So let's exclude ourselves from this.
Us. We've already put each other over enough. All that's left is a kiss on the lips, and then we're good.
Exactly.
I think Christian Casanova is the guy. And this is gonna sound fourth wall breaking again, but I chose him. I went out of my way to take a kid who was lost. He looked just like me 5 years ago. Confused, lost, nobody pointing him in the right direction because every wrestler in this area is selfish. We said this at the beginning. They don't fight for the brand. They fight for themselves. They don't know how to do both at the same time. And I think because I have so many great people in my corner that have gone on and made $1 million and wrestled on TV, they've passed me all of this information on how to be able to do both and balance it and balance my real life. And I needed to give all that information to Christian because I believe he is that talented. He is the guy ready to break out and take over and be that dude alongside a Josh Briggs, alongside an Anthony Green, who are absolutely on fire from New England right now. Coincidentally, all three from the Brian Fury School. Go figure, right?
I know. Weird, right?
Yeah. Who would think you can get good training by a good trainer? Shit. Man, I feel like, I don't know. Nobody else, with the exception of us, and that's rounding out a top 5, putting us in there.
which that just speaks to the talent of New England. Because we talked about earlier, within the last 2 years, we've had so like 10 guys get signed to major companies, and still that being the top 5 just shows how strong the New England scene is right now.
Yeah, and I would say within the last couple of years, even being selfish and putting myself on the brink of that top 5 with those guys here, none of us were even close to reaching that point. We were so drowned by amazing talent in this area. Again, sometimes I feel like some of the things I say sound very blunt. I'm just a very direct person, so take it however you want. But my words are my words. There was so much talent here. We were drowning. We were like, such good talent gets drowned out by even more good talent. It's hard to stand out, and I've been blessed.
It's hard to stand out when you get 8 minutes every time.
Yeah,
and 8 minutes
you don't know what to do
the local guy who sold tickets. You know what I mean?
Or the guy who's fighting with the promoter in the back because he can't take bumps and he doesn't want to put you over. Like
exactly.
But now here we are at a point where I feel we're much more open to building promotions. Now you can see in the last 3 years, all the New England promotions that matter have had a resurgence. They're all feel captivated. They're competing with each other, but in a very friendly way. And I think one cool thing that my mark on New England will be is I'm the first guy to win every major championship by the staple promotions here in New England, being the Chaotix, the Northeast Wrestlings, the Top Ropes, like the places that have been here for the 14, 15 years plus, that all the guys that are running promotions now or signed, they all came from. That wasn't even a thought to do 5, 10 years ago because nobody got along with anybody. And I feel
know
like
you got the chaotic one on me, and it drives me crazy. I like that.
Now,
That's like solely like one of the sole reasons I want to get into chaotic is for that championship, so I could be like, all right, I can mark that. I can put that off the list.
Dude, and it's such a fun journey to chase, and I didn't realize it until it happened. But I had the Chaotic XWA and Top Rope titles all at the same time, and I was the first person to do that here. And I think it's cool because those promotions didn't even get along years before. If you worked for one, you couldn't work for the other. And now here's this one guy who's 5'9", 190 pounds on my best carb day, and it's like he's the face of everything. And I felt like that accomplishment then moved me up a level to then go win the Northeast title here, where I feel like everybody who's held the Northeast title goes on to make $1 million. They all go on, whether it's right away within the next year of holding it. Like Mikey B had it, and then he was gone 2 weeks later. Like it's the magic touch in New England, and it shows that you are the top echelon of talent here in the area. And to achieve that goal I remember when I sent my email to Northeast to get booked, they just laughed at me. And it was the same way at Chaotic. They ignored me for 8 years, and I didn't understand why. So winning those titles selfishly and making that history for now somebody else to go chase, like I egotistically hold on to that because it's like, damn, all you jackasses said I would quit, I would never make it, I would die because of the drugs, I'm never going to be as good as this guy. Now I'm the king. Now I'm the best. Now everybody is going to have to break my records. Now everybody's going to have better matches than me. And I mean, selfishly, I like being that person because it motivates people. Like, look at us now. Look how motivated we are. Look at Christian. Look at a Mike Verna. Like, look at these guys who are just unreal talented, but never knew how to bring that out of them. Now when they see us walk into the locker room, they're like, damn, all right, I'm stepping it up today. Like, we have to go kill it. And I love that. I love that competition, man. And I love that we bring it out of people.
Absolutely. So this is the last question from, I think it's Giffy or Jeffy 71. Right. I'm not good with pronunciations, but if you were to have, your most underrated match. So a match that you had that you really liked that you feel like didn't get the proper respects it deserved. Which I like that question. I never heard that question.
Great question. Like, and I wish I could give you one match, but I actually just tweeted about this earlier today. If you're a wrestling promotion, and especially early on in somebody's career, one of the BS speeches they give you is, "Oh, brother, I don't know how the house is going to be, but it's going to be great exposure." And we all fall for that trick inevitably, and we all think that we're going to get this footage and do a million things with it. I have footage against guys who are on WrestleMania last year and right now that it just got dropped today. And I joke with my buddies in my private like Facebook chats and text chats, like, if the matches that I have done in the last 4 years, I'll even stretch it to 5 years, have all dropped on the internet at once. Bam! As soon as they happened, I'd be the WWF champion right now, and I promise you that.
So wait, they would have brought it back to the WWF.
Yeah, they would give the F back because I'm here to fucking kill it. Like it'd be undeniable because it's a who's who of wrestling guys. Adam Cole, Cody Rhodes, John Morrison, like everybody that you like when they come off of TV and they come to New England, they're fighting me, and I worked my ass off to get in there and learn from these guys to become a better wrestler and to get the information that they possessed at a higher level so I can do it and I to where they are, and then I can give that back to somebody. And I think I think like that, and there's not many people who think of it. I'm not doing it like, oh, I'm a Mizark, I'm wrestling Cody Rhodes today. It's
so funny because I was just about to say, Tom, my trainer, every single time he would tell me, he goes, you got to get in there with names, not to be a fucking mark, but to learn. But
they have something you don't. Why are they a name? Because they went and they applied information that you do not have at a higher level, and they were good at it. Why would you not want to wrestle those guys? And don't get me wrong, I love wrestling students. I love wrestling people who are considered green, new.
See, I like wrestling green guys too, because I think that's also a learning experience for us of how to carry a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. Yes, absolutely.
I love being in a way to be able to teach somebody who like. Okay, here's an example. I just wrestled a kid, and not a kid because we're all at the same age, DL Hurst. Relatively new. I wrestled him at Chaotic, and I've wrestled him before for, was it Western Mass?
That's right, baby.
That was our first match. And even the approach in setting the match up was like, man, I understand, blah, blah. And I was like, no, F that. I want to wrestle DL. Like, I think we're going to have a badass match. And I'm sure DL, it's like the fourth show on the weekend for me. He could see me promoting all of these other crazy matches leading into it. He probably was like, man, JT isn't going to want to do shit. And then I show up and I'm like, yo, let's bang. Let's have this badass match. And I love that because then people were like, oh my God, like DL Hurst is really good. Yeah, you're damn right he is, because he's motivated and he's got all the tools inside of him, and nobody ever lets him let loose. Nobody ever lets him just do all of his ideas. Like, my ideas are great, but my ideas are better when I take your stuff and I enhance it. That's what I'm really, really good at. I want to hear your creativity, and I want to show the world what the fuck you can do. They're going to see me. They're going to watch me on High Spots. They're going to see me at PWG. They're going to see me at Revolver. They're going to see me. I know that. But I also know that it's going to take you a little bit of time to get to the places that I'm at. Why not fast forward that process? If I am invested in you and I believe that you are capable of doing those things, I don't care. A promoter's going to tell me 8 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to fight with the promoter for more time, not because of me. And when I fight, like I wanted to wrestle Christian one time, and we were given fourth wall shattered again, 12 minutes. I said, F that. I need 30. Why? Just shut the fuck up and give me 30. I know you have it. Just give it to me, dude. It's my favorite match that I had last year in that promotion was against Christian. In that 30-minute match, it had every element from like an old WWF, like pay-per-view main event, all the tricks that you can have in wrestling. The crowd reaction just kept going up. There were surprises and weapons and crazy bumps. Like, it was perfect. But it wasn't just my vision. I fought for that time because Christian wanted that time. He wanted a chance to prove himself. Why am I going to deny somebody that? Why would I not want to give that to somebody? That motivation has now spread him. Now he's the Chaotic champion. He went and beat my ass a couple months later. We're like, you don't know what it's going to spawn on somebody. Now we're getting way off on a tangent. But I would say if I had to pick one random match off the top of my head that I wish people saw, a couple years ago, WrestleJam, myself versus Chris Sabin. I feel like that was a match that I wanted so bad, and then I got it, and it just never saw the light of day. It ended up being in a building where it was 106 degrees. They gave us 30 minutes when I didn't know what to do with 30 minutes. He didn't feel motivated at first, but then after like a quick conversation, I told him like, hey man, it's cool if we go 8. Like, you know how it is dealing with somebody who's tenured than you. You do what they want. And at that time, I'm still kind of new, so I'm not even fighting with him. And then 30 minutes later, we're in the back and we're dying sweat. My gear is 4 different colors from the sweat, and I could recite you every single thing that happened in that match. And it's a damn shame that didn't go out when he was red hot and I was looking for a chance to break through. And I'm sitting on tons of matches like that from promotions all across the world. And I mean, I can't reiterate this enough. Stop holding footage hostage. Release it. We're dying for that. That's why I have Dakota with the cell phone. I promise you, promotions, wrestlers, fight for it. Fuck fighting for this insurance bullshit. Be a man. Go get your own health insurance and grow the fuck up. Like, we're not all the same. And I'm telling you right now, we're not the same. But if you get more guys like Brad and I fighting to make everybody else better, we'll all be the same quicker than we were before. But when you're fighting for this dumb shit, it doesn't fucking... Huh?
This is just get us the footage, babe.
Yeah, get us the footage. I will do the work with the footage. That's it. You promise us exposure, man. Your exposure from 5 years ago does me nothing these days. I'm past those matches. I don't even look the same as I do now in the matches that you're releasing to your fans. Like, it's cool, man. I appreciate the gesture, but now I'm at a different point. You're just being you're being condescending. You're being a jackass. So I'm not retweeting it. But yeah, that would be a match I'd pick, man. It just sucks. I hate the fact that every promoters sit on stuff like that, because there's some really talented guys, especially now, that could be all over the world and deserve to be, but you just don't get to see their stuff. And you honestly, for a promotion, let me just be a jackass for a second. Does it really help your promotion to get those thousands of views on your Facebook video? I'll post a video right now that says "Kiss my ass, Big Bacon," and there's 10,000 views. Like, are you really going to harp the footage and wait 6 months to release something that could help somebody get signed in 4 days? Like, come on, man. Like, that's going to help your brand more than stocking footage of this guy for when he gets signed. Like, you could help him. You could be the reason why this guy goes on and he just has a longer career, or he gets to go learn more information, or go catch up with his buddies, or whatever the case may be, whatever their goal in wrestling is. Stop sitting on the footage, man.
I tagged the top rope for 3 years, and I've seen maybe 3 matches.
Yeah, I was a champion. I've never even seen the match I won the title in.
So since we're wrapping up here, next time, because I got to have you on again, just because I'm
sorry, guys. I don't ever shut the hell up.
No, dude. Trust me, man. This is a good conversation. I want to dive into what wrestling a little bit more. So next time you're on, we got to do a deep dive into what wrestling.
Beautiful. And I'll give you guys a little sneak peek, since I feel like people are kind of on the social media asking what wrestling is back soon. So get ready. And I'm not fucking around anymore. There's going to be some feelings hurt, but you know what? I don't care, because wrestling has a tomorrow, baby, and you're looking at it.
You're damn Skippy. So plug everything you got coming up. I know, like I said, you got the Moxley match, and tell everyone where to follow you, where to find you.
At the JT Dunn on almost every form of social media. Please don't blow up my inbox. Like, if I don't answer you, like, I have moderators on my social media account, which is probably like one of the most important things I've ever done. So I have people who have my passwords and stuff, so they can see what I post, my messages, because I'm bad at my phone. Sometimes I put my phone down and I don't touch it for a while, and I miss something important. But also, I get into these modes, and one day when next time I see you at a show, I'll show you my draft inbox. When I see something stupid on Twitter, I immediately respond. But then I sit there for a second and I put it in my drafts, and then I let my moderators look at it. And if it should be posted, it would be posted. And if not, it just sits there and it collects dust. But one day, when I don't give an F about wrestling anymore, I am going to just torture people on social media.
Unload the drafts.
And I'm going to ruin all of you fake pretend pro wrestlers. Like, I don't give a hell how many times you tweet out in 140 characters that you're the best. If you see me or Big Bacon in your locker room, you are not the best. Got it?
Shit ain't gonna fly.
And here's a humbling experience that I just felt. I feel I'm the best when I walk into almost every fucking locker room on this planet. And I've won match of the year in 4 different continents. So I'm pretty confident in what I do. Okay? But I went and did Pro Wrestling Revolver this weekend. And I walked into a locker room stacked with talent. And that was a humbling experience, because I feel like I'm seeing everything in a different way right now. And those who follow me and see my matches, you can see there's a new motivation behind everything. And I'm seeing what I want to do clearer. But walking into that locker room around a group of people so motivated to be the best, it felt like how you and I feel at Northeast and places like that. I walked in and I was like, ooh, I don't feel like the best right now. But you know what? I'm going to go in that ring with Killer Cross. We're going to beat the ever-loving shit out of each other, because that dude is real as it gets. And mind you, the last time I was at Revolver, I was giving Jimmy Jacobs a lap dance, and he was grabbing onto my penis. So the last time they saw me wasn't very favorable towards my career. But here, I get to be me. I get to hang and bang with a shoot fighter in an element of wrestling that I do, where it's about me. End of the night, they're standing, clapping, please come back, the whole jazz. I walked into the locker room. I felt equal after that match. If you're not chasing that feeling as a pro wrestler, stop it. If you walk into a room and you can't assess the situation, that maybe you're not the best in that locker room and you have to actually work for it, stop showing up. You've already defeated yourself. Come in motivated. Look for the best. I walked in the Northeast day one and I found the best. And I was like, I'm taking your spot. And I sat down next to you because nobody was taking us seriously. And I saw you hawk in the locker room. And you were thinking the same thing that I was thinking. I'm coming for the best. I'm taking your spot. It took us 365 days for you to become the champion and me to become the number one contender. 365 days. And we tortured our minds. And nobody but the immediate people around us will know how difficult it is to succeed there.
Yes.
With everything that's thrown. The wrestling is the easy part. When we get to go to the ring and I walk through that curtain, trust me, I'm leaving a bunch of bullshit back there, and I'm coming to have fun. So are you. It's hard, but damn, we are motivated to be the best. And I want everybody to hear this. You can hate me. You can love me. I don't care. Your feelings towards me are irrelevant at this point in my career. I'm gunning for major league TV time, and Brad is right there with me. And if you're not supporting us, you're supporting the wrong type of fucking wrestling.
No, and that's straight up what it's about. I say that all the time. Like, when people are like, what are your goals? What are your goals? I say, I want to put ink to paper, not just ink to paper for ink to paper's sake. It's because I want to be able to provide, not for just, future generations of me, but like my current family now. Like, I want to be able to do something I love and do something I'm really passionate about and be able to provide for everyone that helped me get there. You know what I mean?
Hell yes. And I feel the same way. And I think that once you feel like that, everything kind of changes. But yeah, at the JT Dunn on all my social media, twitch.tv/the JT Dunn. Join me on there. We have a cast of characters soon. Brad and I will be banging in NBA, so you'll be able to watch that. That should be fun. I saw some of your gameplay last night on your stream, and you play a different position to me. I think I'm at the point with that character that I have in there. So that
we could dominate the park together too.
Dude,
so
no
we
doubt
have
about
options.
it. And Sammy plays Ford, I believe.
Oh, so we got a fucking squad.
We would have a whole. And he's good. He's got a good shot inside now that he plays the inside. But man, just be good people. If you're listening to this, man, and you've heard me rant and rave about wrestling, and I cuss a lot. That's just who I am. I'm sorry, John Roy, for when you have to edit this up. One, because it's long, and two, I didn't really talk about you too often. But shout out John Roy.
I've been kissing John Roy's ass since this podcast started.
Shout out
to him,
man. He's a hard worker, and if you're looking for people who are trying to make your show better, you want people like John Roy and Frankie from Strong Style filming your show, editing your show, running your audio. Because when they walk in the building, I promise you, every single wrestler in that locker room feels better about the show. Because we know it's going to get edited. Yep. It's going to make us look like rock stars. They're going to capture the emotion the best way possible. And lastly, it's going to go online.
Yes, and we're not going to.
We know it's going to see the light of day sooner or later. And those two guys aligning here in New England, they're a conglomerate. They're taking over the video editing production of every major promotion that deserves and knows how to value their time. So please support those guys. When you see them, just shake John Roy's hand, shake Frank's hand, grab a shirt, grab a hat, buy John Roy a drink. Like, just take care of them, man, because they're taking care of us. Support your local promotions. Go and support the guys that are labeled as underneath us, because I promise you they're just as talented as Brad and I. All joking aside, I know we rib on people and we say some things that may sound harsh, but in pro wrestling, you got to have tough skin. You got to have thick skin to survive. And I love Christian, but he's also a bitch, and he's going to know why I said that to him. He's going to laugh when he hears it.
Oh, dude, I got to get him on soon, too.
Yeah, you got to get Christian. He's got a great story. You know who would be a great guest for you? And I'm always going to be – I'm an advocate for him because he helped save my life. Trigger the OG. I'm about to sit down with him eventually. This guy needs a documentary of what he's done for New England.
That one would be in person. And, the room wouldn't be clear if you don't understand.
It would not. I mean, he's very much responsible for literally saving my life. Him and Dave Cole found me at a point where I was about 2 overdoses deep, and drugs were consuming me, and everybody in wrestling wanted to jump me, and sometimes they did. And they pulled me aside and saved me, and I've been best friends with Trips ever since. And man, I've never seen somebody, I'm not going to say his age because he can tell you, but he's 20 years deep in pro wrestling, took some time off, came back, and I think he's better right now than he has ever been in his entire life. And I think people need to hear his story. They need to hear the Killanova story. They need to see what he's done for Christian, because as talented as Christian is, there was pieces missing that I couldn't fill that only Trips could. And man, that's a special story.
Trips is the only dude that will throw a spinning heel kick at you and scream out, "Motherfucker!"
Yeah, on a PG show, and there's 14 kids slamming the guardrails. Shout out to the OG, man, because he is legitimately the real OG of New England wrestling, and everybody here has a positive story to tell about him. And there's a lot of guys you wouldn't realize are at the top of the food chain because of him not being selfish, and I wouldn't be where I'm at if he was a selfish wrestler. He went to bat for me. He got me to PWF early in my career and literally taught me how to be a wrestler, and I'm spending the rest of my career paying that forward to him, and it's not because I owe him, it's because he's consistently earning it, and a person like that will forever have my respect. So shout out to the OG. I love you, homie. I'm going to tag you in this.
Big Trips,
everybody
baby.
follow him at Trigger the OG, every social media. Just when you see him, you don't realize that this dude is 20 years deep, and he does better stuff and crazier stuff than like what you're watching right now. And I'm not talking about just the flips and stuff. That's just the charade behind it. But like, yo, he's one of the smartest in-ring technicians that I've ever seen in my life. He taught me everything's purpose. He showed me how to develop that skill. And if you're a wrestler listening to this and you don't know how to apply that skill, talk to him about it. And if you're a wrestler who's confused on what this means, talk to him about this. I promise you, he will change your perspective and how you see your matches and how you visually see yourself. And he's partly responsible for my rejuvenation here in 2019. Shout out to him. Check out all that stuff, man. And I'm going to whoop John Moxley's ass in a couple weeks, and Ray Phoenix 2 days before. I'm pretty pumped about that. Ray Phoenix, the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. That's the weekend where, if you have ever doubted me as a pro wrestler, ever, I don't care who you are, top of the food chain, bottom of the barrel, if you've ever doubted me and thought that I was done, and if you thought that when Hero went back to NXT, my career was over, and if you thought that I was somehow the weak link of the juicing product or whatever, if you thought that because I'm not at Beyond Wrestling anymore that I was going to flop off or we got heat, everything is love, and that's what I'm fighting with right now. That's why it's different. Last couple of years, I was fighting and fueled by hatred and just miscommunications and just misguided information. But if you thought you were going to catch me slipping, August 16th, August 17th, and August 18th, I am going to wrestle like it is the last chance I get to wrestle for the rest of my life. And if I didn't impress you against Ray Phoenix, whoever it is on the 17th, in the match that I've earned against John Moxley that Sunday, you're not a wrestling fan. You don't understand what it is to be a good human. Because Brad, all joking aside, like the real me right here, I'm putting my soul into those matches. And you know what I'm capable of better than most people. My soul is in those matches.
Oh, and you know what? Straight up, you should. Straight up. Like, I'm not.
And I know what was supposed to happen. And I'm putting this here. This is your soundbite. Yo, that John Moxley match, as much as it is for me, that's for you too, homie.
Oh,
that's for you, because when you get back, I'm right here at the top of the fucking food chain waiting for you.
Hell yeah, and dude, I can't wait till we step in the ring again, because I was really looking forward to that match this summer. But everything happens for a reason. So, like I said, I can't wait till it's you and I stepping in there.
Can't wait, man. I'm sorry I cuss so much, John.
Sorry, John.
The bacon.
That was our interview with JT Dunn. I want to thank JT for being on the show, and I'm sure he's going to absolutely kill it with John Moxley this weekend for Northeast Wrestling. Northeast Wrestling got a lot of big shows coming up this weekend, so hopefully you guys will catch me there. We're going to throw to Flippin' Bacon pretty quick this week. Just going to make sure you follow the @WhatSizzling podcast on Twitter, and you follow @WhatSizzling podcast on Instagram. All right, now here is the second edition of Flippin' Bacon. Now that was What's Sizzling episode 3, but now we are here at edition 2 of Flippin' Bacon. Flip.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Are you ready? Are you excited?
Listen, I'm pretty excited, but I'm not excited that I didn't convince you of your devilish ways last week, where you go milk first. But hey, we could maybe revisit that at another time. But today, we got a different topic, because I'm gonna try to flip you on this one. I'm gonna try to flip you, which that should be easy because it's in your name. You don't think aliens exist, which I find.
You see, I'm not sold on it yet. You know, like I don't know. I mean, you're gonna have to convince me, dude.
And that's exactly what I'm gonna do today. So we're gonna go right into it this week, and I'm gonna have my 30 seconds first this week. I let you go first last week. I get it this week. Then you're gonna have your 30 seconds, and then we're gonna hop into it. My 30 seconds begins right now. So, first of all, there's so much evidence of alien existence throughout time on this earth. Even if you go back to the ancient Egyptians, they're drawing like flying objects on their hieroglyphs. And even if you go to now, there's so much evidence of alien existence, and it's not just these crazy CGI people coming up with this insane Photoshop pictures. No, it's hard evidence. Everyone knows that from day one. There got to be something else out there.
Time's up.
I didn't feel good about that. I didn't feel good about that argument. Hopefully, when we get into our debate period, I get a little bit smoother on it. But you got 30 seconds here. Ready, set. Oh, someone's online PlayStation. I'm sorry about that. Ready, set, go.
You see, like I just don't know. I mean, I've been doing like a lot of research on astrology lately, and like I've been, you know, I think there is life out there, but it's like where have they been? Why haven't they showed up in a while? Why? And if they have, why is it being hidden from us? You know what I mean? I feel like we would have seen it by now. I mean, I've been alive for 27 years. I haven't seen anything. So, I mean, I don't know.
You still got 5 seconds, Flipper.
Follow me at the Flip Gordon. Cheap plug.
So you had enough time to make a compelling argument and get a plug in. So not bad, Flip. Not bad. But really, like I said, when you break this down and you really think about it, there's been so much evidence of alien life, and I believe it's hidden from us for the sole fact of we wouldn't know how to deal with it as a whole, because that's not a nation issue. That would be a global issue, and you would have to get a lot of people to agree to a lot of different things. So I think it's best if it's just swept under the rug.
You know, like you brought up a good argument with the whole pyramids, because like I've been doing a lot of research.
That's been going on forever.
Date back for a very long time. And there actually is believed to be, they used to be very powerful and have like a huge energy source.
Well, and another thing,
and so,
I don't think the aliens built the pyramids. Like I heard that being a theory a ton of times.
No, I don't think that.
But like, how did someone in that time?
So do you think that we get our technology from the aliens, possibly?
I mean, I'm sure that
or where
we don't. I don't think we get.
Come from?
I don't think we get it from them. No. I believe like
humans were just alive and then just like, oh, these chemicals do this. Poof.
I mean, now I think you're trying to convince me to believe in aliens. I think
know.
it's starting around here, but no.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
No, straight up. Like my whole thing with aliens is the universe is so big that we don't even know how big it is yet, and we explored every single part of it. There has to be something else out there. There's so much, and honestly, the biggest part to sustain living life is water. So, like, you're telling me there's no planet out there that could have water and be a decent distance away from a large star like the sun?
Well, I mean, there are some theories that on other planets that they either live inside, because Earth is one of the only planets that the gases on the outside actually protect us from the sun, and so therefore that's why we're able to live on the outside, whereas other planets, the gases aren't strong enough to protect from the sun, so therefore any like living would die on the surface of those planets.
So yeah, aliens might just be mole people on these other planets that live
just
in the ground.
Some research that I've done, that's all.
So
don't quote me on that.
No. But so you're even making a compelling argument here, and I really think
it's. I mean, I don't know. It's so unknown though, like you said.
Of course, I mean, there's a big unknown, but anytime anytime there are theories, the theories start on a huge unknown, and a lot of them are proven to be true in the long run. So I'm all for Team Alien. I think aliens exist.
You know, I think there's a huge possibility. I mean, I think you might have. I mean, we had some. I think I do agree. I think their aliens exist. But let's we want to hear what you guys think. Do you guys think aliens exist, or do you think they do not exist?
I mean, there got to be something out there. So let us know at the What's Sizzling podcast if you think aliens exist.
Use hashtag flip and bacon.
Sizzle, baby.
That's all, folks.